You guys doing good?
Yes, sir.
All right, we'll get started. We'll have a brief opening statement from the president, and then I'll have one as well, and then we'll take all the questions that you guys have.
Yeah, and I'm going to start off easy. Any other microphones that need to be laid down? Are we good?
Very good. Audio in the back good?
Yeah. Sound check.
Matt, we good? Good? All right, yeah. President, we're good?
Well, you're all probably wondering why I'm smiling so much today. We've had an incredible opportunity, and it wasn't something that happened accidentally. It was something that happened as a result of many years of hard work. I just want to say to Wren, you and your team have done a phenomenal job. We're just glad that we can support and that you got us here. This move means so much for the university, not just in terms of moving into a conference that's clearly prestigious, but in terms of the reputation and branding that it'll create for us on a national level. I mean, we've got to think about the television exposure and the media attention that we're gaining. And what I'll tell you is that this move reflects what's happening to the academics at our university. We're on the launch pad. We're growing faster than just about any other university in Texas, fourth largest university right now. Our programs are expanding, our research is booming, and athletics now is helping us lead the charge to become a nationally prominent major university. And I couldn't be more delighted than to be sitting here with you today talking about our entrance into the American.
All right. Thank you, President Smatresk. And I just want to say Neal's been a great partner in this endeavor, and he's going to get a lot of his scheduling time back. I've actually got to give him a to-do list over the last few months and weeks. And what's interesting is we've talked more in the last few months than we ever have, and we haven't had a meeting scheduled, I don't think, since June or July, because we talk 4 or 5 times a day catching up on everything. But what an exciting time for the University of North Texas. We've been on really a continuous growth trajectory. And if you look back at the growth in academics, becoming a Tier 1 institution, all of the ranked programs, and then our athletic programs, bowl games, basketball championships, softball championships, golf championships. We just have really been on a tremendous run with our athletic programs, and this will allow us to continue to grow our athletic programs. What's important about that is it gives us a great chance to highlight our academic programs, and that's what the university's primary role is. The American Conference has clearly established itself under Commissioner Smatresk as the Power Six, the sixth best conference in the country. And they've done that through vision, but they've also done that through evidence. They've backed it up. And we're very, very excited to join that conference. I was at Memphis when the conference started as the deputy AD, and Memphis entered that conference the American Conference is a good program, but the trajectory of their program has really taken off, and specifically their football program. And so we know this is going to provide a great opportunity for us. We're very grateful. I'm grateful for Neal, as I mentioned, our chancellor, our board. Everybody has been really full partners in building our athletic program, and certainly our coaches and staff and our student athletes. My executive team, Jared Mosley, who's been with us every step of the way. And then we're very grateful to our donors and fans who have invested in our program, allowed us to build facilities, allowed us to grow our donor base, and we're going to need that growth to continue because we're definitely entering a conference where we're going to have to step up our resources. We're going to have to step up the way we do things. So very quickly, from a process standpoint, probably 18 to 24 months ago, we really started to try to learn more. We engaged with a consultant to learn more about what has driven conference decisions in the past. And we started to build our case and our collateral materials and everything around that, knowing I'm not pretending to be able to predict the future, but we knew that there was a chance there would be some realignment as TV deals came up. And so when this all hit in July, we weren't starting from square one. We had a lot of things in place. Neal and I both picked the week that OU Texas made their announcement to take vacation because I thought it would be dead that week. The week before fall camp starts, there wouldn't be anything going on. So you were in Arkansas, I was in Florida, had to cut down on my margaritas so that we could have intelligent conversations about conference realignment. And so that was definitely the kickoff to the rapid part of this process. We made calls, we've sent materials, rinse and repeat. We have talked to probably every school in the American, sometimes both the president and the AD. And we talked to people in other conferences as well as we surveyed the landscape. The biggest benefit is not just financial. We can't talk about the financial details today, but the exposure. The American has over 100 linear games between football and basketball, and most of their inventory is on ESPN networks, and whether it be their linear channels or their digital channels. And so it's an opportunity for us to shine in the spotlight on our students, on our faculty, on our staff that are doing great work. Before we open it up for questions, just what's next? We will continue to be members of Conference USA and do our part to help Conference USA until we make the transition. The date of transition is to be determined. Conference USA has been a great place for us. We've grown the program a lot in that league. We have some great colleagues in the conference. Judy McLeod has been a friend, a colleague, a leader. So leaving some of those relationships behind won't be easy, but we're going to do everything we can to ensure a smooth transition. And then Neal and I will start to work on our transition plan because we're not satisfied with just getting into the conference. We plan to go in and resource our teams in a way that will allow us to be competitive. We know we've seen what happens with the teams that are competitive in that league and what the opportunities are for them. So again, we're very excited about joining the American Monumental Day. And for anything else before we open up for questions?
No, just a whole bunch of excitement, and you can feel it through the entire university. This is electric. It's a big moment in our history.
Questions?
Yeah, you guys have always had such great potential with this university as far as location and some of the things that you've done to advance the program. Does joining the American Athletic Conference just give you that much more solid of a foundation to capitalize on that potential moving forward?
You want to go? You want to go?
You know, whenever you make a move like this, the branding, the PR, the reputation of the university are all at stake. We've moved up, and this move up is not going to just help us in athletics, where I know it will help us. I mean, recruiting and exposure are huge. It's going to help build the spirit of this school and our culture, and I think that's really important. This is a school that, when I first got here, a lot of people didn't know where it was or who North Texas was. Boy, you can bet they know now, especially after last NC2A tournament. We were bracket busters. So I'm telling you, there's a lot of pride, and that pride extends to our faculty and staff and to the students who come here. This is going to influence recruiting of students. It's going to influence recruiting of faculty, and it's going to make us a better place overall. So I couldn't be happier.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with everything Neal said. It's not that growth potential would have been stymied had we not got this opportunity, but this certainly lifts that ceiling even higher. And we'll have a chance to continue to recruit better, to retain student athletes and coaches and staff at a higher level. And when we have those achievements that we've had, whether it's Hope Trotwine's perfect game, a bracket busting win in the NCAA tournament, a fake fair catch against an SEC team, those will be spotlighted on a bigger and brighter stage because of the television opportunities that the American has secured. So we're excited about that.
You mentioned you've been preparing for this maybe up for 2 years. How essential was that getting out ahead of it? Because I would imagine if you waited until July to get started on this, we probably wouldn't be here today.
Yeah, it's been important, and it's something, even on my interview we talked about. President Smatresk and Regent Brent Ryan, Brent was the board chair at the time, had big aspirations for the program. And, Neal's charge to me coming in was develop a plan for us to be successful and be able to elevate the program, and then let's talk about how we can afford and implement the plan. And that's pretty much what we did. And if you follow, we put all that on our website with meangreenstrategicplan.com, and then our lightthetower.com, which is our facilities master plan. But if you follow those steps, I mean, we have followed that plan. It's changed a little bit. Our facility master plan didn't have the golf practice facility, but somebody stepped up and made that a reality for us, and so that got inserted. But I think I definitely think that played a role.
You mentioned speaking with some other conferences throughout the process. What was it about the AAC that really separated them as where you guys wanted to take that next step and step up to?
I'll let the president answer from his standpoint as well, but I think it's data. I mean, you just look at the data, the quality of their TV package, the exposure, the kick times, and then the success they've had with Final Four basketball programs, New Year's Six football appearances, and that's not just one or two teams. That's been spread out, and Temple had some great teams under Matt Rule. I was at Memphis when we had a bad Conference USA football team. We made the transition to the American, and I think the first year we won 3 games under Justin Fuente, but just the opportunity allowed us to grow that program. So I think ultimately that's what made the American kind of the primary target for us.
While certainly from an athletics perspective, there's no question that we're moving up, and this is a wonderful transition for us. But it isn't just athletics. Wren and I were talking, and we've been talking a lot. And Wren said, Neal, I'm really surprised by how much presidents in the rest of the league really care about the academic reputation of a school. So, here we got to keep Bryce, one of the good members. We got to add some other strong members. And we're joining a conference that has a great academic reputation. Schools that are well known, national brands. We're a national brand, and we want to let everyone know that we're national brands. So the move up is not just a move up for athletics, it's a move up for academics as well.
Thank you.
When presenting your case to the American, what were the key points that you wanted to emphasize to them to sell that on North Texas?
I think from a profile standpoint, we talked about 42,000 students, grew by 4% just this year. I mean, since I came here, we're up 5,000 or 6,000 students. We talked about the R1 status. We talked about the distinction of being a Carnegie Tier 1 research university while being a minority serving institution and a Hispanic serving institution. From an area standpoint, obviously DFW is the number 5 DMA, but the growth in the Dallas-Fort Worth region, it's one of the hottest areas of the country, and all of the growth is down this corridor between Dallas and Fort Worth up to the Oklahoma border. That's where the growth is, and so we really pointed that out. And then from an athletic perspective, when you look at the last 5 years, we've had our 4 highest winning percentages in the history of the program have occurred in the last 5 years, and so we were able to really sell that as well. I had looked up how many high school graduates that are college prospects we produce in every sport in the state of Texas, and it's very high. I mean, Texas is a top 5 producer of talent in just about every sport that the American Conference sponsors. So all of those things factored into the conversations.
Yeah, I'll just say Wren just gave you a great rundown. It doesn't hurt that we've put up $100 million worth of facilities over the past few years. And if any of you haven't seen them, go take a look, because these are really good facilities. These are facilities where we could host NC2A tournaments and do quite a bit more. But again, that plan doesn't happen by accident. That plan's a result of very intentional planning and Wren's leadership to move us down the road, and a whole lot of donor help.
Now, you guys don't know what the TV deal is going to look like. That's what Russ said in the teleconference. But are you confident that your guys are going to see some financial benefit from moving into the league?
Yeah, I think it'll come in a variety of ways, both direct and indirect. And so, we can't really talk as much about the direct benefit at this point, but the indirect benefit is just when you're in a conference that has a greater footprint, more exposure, the brand. We've talked about all of the exposure through ESPN. But then, what the American has done in the way that they geographically have selected teams as well gives us a great chance to develop rivalries, which will sell tickets. Not only do we get SMU in our conference, and we'll be playing in more sports than just football. We've played a lot of football games, but we'll be able to play them in other sports. Tulsa will become a great rival. Wichita State will become a great non-football rival. We already have an emerging rivalry with UTSA and Rice. Tulane and New Orleans isn't that far. Memphis isn't that far. So there's a lot of locations where you can drive, fans can drive, and that drives revenue because you build those rivalries, people get excited, you sell more tickets. They have alums in the area. They're able to come in, and all that factors in to driving revenue as you get more people in the stands, you sell more season tickets, they pay you to park, you park more cars, concessions and all of that. So there will be significant revenue opportunities. Hopefully, Joe, our GM at Learfield, is here. Joe, I think this will give Joe a chance to sell more advertising, maybe charge more for some of those ads. So, we just think there's a lot of opportunity to grow that revenue.
Well, and we get revenue from other sources too. Our donors have been a big source of revenue. We've got the big donors. We hope this excites them as much as it excites us. But we also have the folks who have maybe been a little bit on the fence. So I'm just looking out there and saying, all you Mean Green fans, we've stepped up conferences. It's time for you to step up giving, and let's really live this dream.
You mentioned the timeline for transition hasn't been, I guess, solidified, but when do you anticipate starting to play an American Conference schedule?
Well, I don't know for sure they're working through that. Obviously, they're working through when the teams that are going to be leaving are going to leave. But, I would guess it might start either fall 23 or fall 24. And it just depends on how all that works out in the coming days and weeks. But whichever timeline it is, we'll handle our obligations and our notifications required to exit Conference USA the right way. And we'll have a transition plan that's ready and implemented to make sure that we hit the ground running.
You went into the same league as SMU, which is kind of a long-time rival. Is that going to be something special for the school to be playing SMU?
Yeah, I think our fans like that game and that rivalry, and I know that there's a lot of good-natured back and forth, and maybe some not so good-natured back and forth between the two universities and their alumni and their graduates. But Neal and I enjoy great relationships with Rick Hart, their AD, and President Turner, and they've been great partners in a variety of ways, and we feel like the two of us here in Dallas, Fort Worth, working together, can collectively help advance the Americans' brand and footprint in the Metroplex, and make sure that that the American Conference is getting a lot of exposure, and we're getting a lot of recruits from this area.
Yeah, I have to laugh. President Turner and I talk with each other pretty regularly, and we see each other in a variety of meetings. And so I'll just say that our interactions have always been fun. Every once in a while, we want to, kind of cry in our beer together, and every once in a while, we want to celebrate together. But he's been very gracious through this transition, and I appreciate our rivalry with SMU, and I think a long-term positive collaboration for this university.
North Texas fans have always speculated SMU would never support North Texas joining whatever conference they're in. How much does your relationship with their administration maybe help soothe that? Because I have to believe the last 10 years probably that relationship's been better than it's ever been.
Yeah, I can't speak to historically, but I know in the time that I've been here, Rick and I have had a great relationship. You guys are aware that Coach Dykes and Seth have a good relationship. There's a very healthy respect there between the institutions. I respect the progress that they've made. I know that they respect the progress that we've made. And, I think if I were in SMU shoes, if the roles were reversed, I think my viewpoint would be we need to do what's best for this conference. And ultimately, I think when collectively the American probably were going through a vetting process, I think when you put us on paper, and I told Neal this early, I said I think we stack up very, very well against the other teams that are out there that could be additions. And so I know some of our fans were worried about that because they'll tweet me sometimes, and but I never felt like that there was significant resistance from SMU. Everything I heard just through the grapevine from that conference was that SMU wanted what was best for the conference.
I'll reiterate and support that, and I won't go into details of conversations I've had. I'll simply say that SMU and UNT are really different kinds of institutions. We're pretty darn geographically far apart. If you don't think we are, just get in your car and try to drive there. And I think that we actually, in the composite, really expand the viewer base here, and it's good for both of us.
When you see a billboard go up across the street with for recruiting, what goes through my mind, how you guys are going to be?
I want to call the dark ops team.
I think our reaction was, how the heck could we not own this billboard? We need to have this billboard, and we own a bunch of them, but somehow we didn't have that one. So, listen, we have spent a lot of time branding ourselves as North Texas, and that we represent the entire region, and and when you're a smaller student population like SMU's and a smaller alumni population, but you're the only FBS institution inside Dallas City limits, I haven't had a problem with their branding of Dallas, and I know that our fans didn't love that billboard, and I did not love that billboard, but it wasn't just an attack on us. They've done that in the hometowns of a lot of their student athletes, especially when they've made plays or they've had a big win. I think they did it in Fort Worth when they played TCU as well. And so, that's just a challenge to us to get ahead of them next time and make sure that we have locked down those billboards.
Well, marketing is a full contact sport, just in case you didn't know. It's not eligible for Title IX or anything like that, but it's a lot of fun.
But it makes for the rivalry to be better for fans. And so, if you're going to do Neal and I's job, I always try to tell our fans and supporters when they're very emotional, you don't pay me to be emotional. You pay me to be analytical and thoughtful and deliberate. And so I don't think you want me to react the way a fan reacts. Otherwise, we would be paying billions in buyouts because we would be extending people after big wins and firing them after every loss, and it would not be a great proposition. So, fans, that's awesome that they get a chance to get riled up, and it's our job to get our team ready to go in a variety of sports and play them and win enough games that our fans have brag points and reasons to be proud too.
Is it going to be a challenge for you guys as you move up to the American Athletic Conference from a competitive standpoint?
Yeah, but we want that. Look at what we aspire to be and what I believe our potential and ceiling is. Since 2016, we've grown our budget by nearly $10 million. We're probably going to need to see another growth like that over the next 5-6 years. And we're going to need everybody's help with that. And so, we're going to have to step up. We've got some facility projects we're going to have to get done. We've got some operating and budget things we're going to have to get done. But that's what we wanted. We're not going into this not aware of those. We've done a lot of benchmarking. So, I think we're going to have a solid plan in place to make that transition.
Competition makes you better. And we all have to learn how to lift our game right now, and I'm excited by the prospects.
Yeah, and not just, financially, but on the field wise, you guys are going to need to make some moves, need to make some improvements there and some right sports to be competitive.
Yeah, and look at our basketball program, which is emerging. I'm excited for us to play Memphis. I was at Memphis, when I called Grant, called him over the weekend, said, hey, I think this is likely to happen. And I said, Coach Hardaway, Penny Hardaway at Memphis, has had #1 recruiting classes, I think, twice in the last 3 or 4 years. So imagine #1 recruiting classes coming into the Super Pit. I mean, that's what a great opportunity for us. And so that's going to do nothing but make us better. And Conference USA has done that. I mean, our programs, our budgets, our competitiveness has increased with Conference USA. And I would point to one of our programs in women's soccer. John Hedlund has guided us. Eric, was John here before Sunbelt? Yeah, so 3 conferences and never had a losing season, 16 conference championships. When I called him Monday night, I said, "You're gonna get a chance to do it in the 4th," and you never changed jobs. So,
and women's softball's looking mighty
yeah,
good too.
yeah. So that's going to give us a chance to elevate the program. That's what you want.
Obviously, having you mentioned UTSA and Rice, but having several of your fellow Conference USA schools looks like making that move over with you. Just how nice is it to see that and have those schools make the move with you guys?
We've had, I just have to say, I have thoroughly enjoyed my time at Conference USA. I'm current board chair. I will tell you that I've got great colleagues there. And the fact that some of them can move over and that we're familiar with each other and we like each other's style is going to probably ease that transition. But it also, I think, is a sign of the growth that you've seen overall in Conference USA, the success of Conference USA. And I just want to say I wish Judy and the commissioner and all the rest great luck as they move forward. But I know that we'll be moving forward with some friends.
Yeah, and we didn't know until very late in the process that the American was going to take 6, and that all 6 of those were going to come from our conference. And Neal and I discussed that. We hate that for Conference USA because we do have a lot of appreciation and love for the league and the leadership there. But it is nice to have some familiarity with the teams that are coming in and to know their strengths and weaknesses. And we've built a model here where our budgets are very competitive, if not ahead of all those colleagues. So that gives us a chance to, they end up probably being in the middle of the conference from a budget perspective, and then we can start to try and grow those resources to go after those teams that are ahead of us.
Couple more? Am I good? All right, thank you all.
Thank you.
Go Mean Green.